having won now at Wigan Warriors, how do you feel you compare to them when you try and replicate and chase the success that they've had?
Look, I mean, we've got a long way to go to chase the success that they've had. But certainly from that game, I said I'd learn a little bit more about our team, and I certainly did. Look, we defended really well. They were really committed in that area, and it was always going to be our main focus and main priority, because if you don't defend well against Wigan, you're often behind the goalposts, waiting to kick the ball off. So we had a real strong focus around that, and being committed for 80 minutes, and I certainly thought they were.
How do you think your side handled the way the game was framed beforehand?
In what way?
Well, obviously you had to deal with a lot of questions about 4 straight defeats to Wigan heading into it, and all the rhetoric and all the challenges that have been put to your sides. How do you think they handled that and the hype surrounding it?
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before. Like, it's I see it, and as a coach, it's up to me to either protect the team from something, or if you can think it and use it, if you want to use it as motivation, you do that. Look, we didn't mention not in one team meeting around losing to Wigan 4 times. Look, there'll be something else. At the moment, there's not. There'll be something that comes up. It's all part of rugby league and headlines and all that sort of stuff. It was never spoken about. So what was spoken about was it was a big game. That was spoken about. We had to run towards it, not away from it, and the players certainly did that. So as I say, as much as it's the media's job to get headlines in and around that, and send us reminders, or certain teams reminders of stats and things like that. We don't. As I said, I'll use what I think would be relevant for making sure that our team performs the best that we can. But we don't use media or outside sort of noise too much to motivate us, because I think if you do that, then you're not going to be consistent. We pride ourselves in making sure we're consistent at training, we're consistent with our prep, we're consistent with recovery and all that sort of stuff, and everything we're doing and around the place. And that's how you get consistent performances. We don't want to spike one week because we've been told by the media that we can't beat Wigan, or we haven't beaten them in 5 times or away or whatever it is. There'll be another reason this week, and we've got our own motivations for that.
And having gone there perhaps without your best 17 on paper, and having had to reshuffle over the past fortnight, what do you think it says about the group to have gone there with that and won?
Oh, look, I'm not getting carried away. They didn't have their best 17 available as well, so I think it evened it out in terms of the game, but not reading too much into it, because what we pride ourselves on is whoever's not available, or isn't playing, that next person steps up and takes that opportunity. So in terms of players taking their opportunities, I thought they did that. And it makes decisions harder going forward, which is what you want. So, we've always said we've got a squad here, and I think that was highlighted, last Friday night.
When you look for further opportunities for this side to grow, perhaps offensively, when you look at the stats before that error-strewn final 20 minutes, the set completion rate, the play the balls that you had in the Wigan 20, how do you become more ruthless when you have that dominance in big games such as the one on Friday night?
Oh, look, you can only go by where we're at the moment. If you guys are big on stats, if you look at stats with our attack, have a look where we're at the moment and what we've done. And then you have a look at the team that we played on the weekend, and have a look at their defensive record. They're a tough defensive team to break down. So, look, I'm not worried about, our attack. I do know whenever you play Wigan, it's very, very difficult to score points. And we're trying to be a team as well that is like that with our defence, that we're a hard team to score against. So, we've got improvement in this, both in attack and defence. But naturally, when you get your spine that's been connected, and had cohesion for a long time, that often helps with that. But it's taking your opportunities. I mean, we created opportunities. We just didn't finish them off. So that's the area that we need to, and individuals need to own that, because I'm happy of what we're throwing at teams, and as I said, where we sort of sit in terms of our attack stats.
Transitioning into your team news, Jared Warea-Hargreaves wasn't punished for that leading elbow on Tyler Dupree in the game. Has there been any further sanction following the match review panel meeting this morning?
Yeah, I just got it through. So he's got 5 points for striking. That's what my understanding of it is, and that's where it's at. So that's literally just come through now.
What was your view of the incident?
Doesn't matter about my view anymore.
Fair enough. Let's move on to your team news. You told us last week that one of your players had suffered a setback in training on the Tuesday before the Wigan game. Michael McAlorum dropped out of the 21-man squad. So what more can you tell us?
Yeah, so he's got there's a fracture there, and he's going to have some time on the sidelines, and we're just hopeful that he can come back this season. We're not sure. We'll need to see how that responds, but we'd love to have him back. I certainly don't want Mickey to finish his career in that way. So knowing him, if anyone can do it, he certainly can. So it's just a matter of waiting to see how that heals, whether he does need an operation or not. It's with the medical team at the moment.
What is he fractured, sorry?
I can't give you the exact terminology. It's in his ankle.
How did it happen?
At training.
Okay. Nothing more you can sort of say on the specifics of it?
No, unfortunately, he's got caught. There's nothing really to tell. It happened at training. It's a physical game. It's a game where you have collisions, and unfortunately, sometimes your ankle gets stuck in the wrong spot. There's not much more to tell.
I know you mentioned it earlier, but what are the early thoughts in terms of treatment and time frame for recovery at this stage?
I've just given you everything I can give you at the moment. So he's with the medical team. We'll make a decision of whether he needs an operation or whether it'll heal. They do it without having an operation. So either way, it's going to be the same time frame pretty much. So that could be whatever it is. But as I said, he's a chance to come back because it's him, and also he may not come back this season.
I mean, I suppose we saw it earlier on in the campaign. He came back for that Challenge Cup final. How keen are you for him to make a return and not end his Super League career in this fashion?
Oh, he doesn't deserve to end that way. It'd be cruel if that happens. So, if it was anyone else, most guys have probably finished their season because they wouldn't come back from the injury. Because it's Mickey, there's always a possibility. An example, like you said, was the Challenge Cup, and Jared was the same. Jared shouldn't have played in that Challenge Cup final, but those guys being who they are and tolerating what the pain that they had, they got through it. There's a lot of players that wouldn't have played, and Mickey certainly, on the top of the list that I've ever seen. Like he's probably the toughest, if not one of the toughest players that I've ever come across. He's built for rugby league, and he's a resilient man.
Just following on from that, what does it say about Jez Litten and the way that he's stepped up to the plate yet again with that performance at Wigan?
Yeah, Jez he's getting better and better every week. I think the biggest sort of criticism or feedback from coaches, myself, and obviously Sean Wayne being the head coach of England, was just wanted to see more consistency in him. We wanted to see more consistency, but for us, he's been our most consistent player this year, if not one of them. He's got a game as a 9 that, if you look and break it down, I've said it many times, he's got a complete game, but now he's playing consistent. His standards are extremely high each week, and he's playing at that consistent level each week. So he's one of the first picked on our team, and we just use it, tactically in and around when we play Mickey for that first 20 minutes, and Jez goes the next 60. But Jez can play 80, and showed that on the weekend. He's growing and growing. He's growing as a leader within the group, and he's certainly, he's doing everything he can on that field.
Just elsewhere in terms of team news, Tyrone May's back from a 2-match ban. What are your thoughts on either throwing him straight back in or keeping with that partnership in the halves of Mikey Lewis and Artur Morg? Yeah,
I mean, Tyrone he had a bit of a knee issue, so we just need to make sure that that's okay, which we'll know more in the back end of the week. So that's the main thing. I mean, if he can get through and he's okay with that, then he'll come back into the side. We're just going to make sure that he's okay.
Just finally looking back on Friday night, Sean Wayne was in attendance. You've spoken about Jez post-match and his Ashes chances, but who else do you think out of your group really staked a claim with their own performance to make that squad?
Oh, look, I've been pretty open around who I believe should be there, but I think it's up to Wayne now. It's his team, and I'd want all English players that I've got on the side to be part of that group. But the ones that keep getting spoken about are probably the ones that should be in those conversations. There's no doubt. I mean, someone like a Dean Hadley would have again. Can't do any more in terms of being in those conversations, and whether he makes the squad or whether he makes the team. I certainly think he should be making the squad, but that's just my thoughts, and I don't pick the team. I'm not part of the team. It's Sean's team, and he'll have in his mind of what he thinks the makeup of his squad will be. But what we need to do, or the players need to do, is make sure that they give him some headaches, which he'd want. There's no doubt about that as a coach. You want those headaches. And, I think a few of our players have probably got him thinking whether to bring him in the squad or whether they're good enough to be in that 17. So that's all they can do.
Just looking ahead to Leeds Rhinos, Willie, firstly, what's your reaction to Brad Arthur extending his stay there?
Yeah, Brad's done a wonderful job. You can just see, the fan base and the playing group of what, Brad's the impact he's had on the group and had on the fans. And look, he's a successful coach, experienced coach. He's to coach a club in the NRL for 10 years, you need to do a lot of things right, and he certainly did that. Made a grand final, made a lot of final series for them, and he's done that now with Leeds. He's a good, honest fella and straight shooter. Which is what players want, and you can see that what he's doing over there has been effective. So it's good for the game over here to keep someone like Brad, in our competition.
Of course, for you, you had a good few months to prepare for your move over to join Hull Kingston Rovers. How difficult is it though when you're making that move to try and put family first, given it's such a long way to travel?
Yeah, it's a huge decision, and that's what Brad was obviously weighing up. He's got his two sons playing over there at the moment. There's talk about potentially one of them coming over, which would have made it easier because there's a few more family members over. But his wife was there. I think she came over for a little bit. It's difficult. For me, I've got a young family, and that took time. I always wanted to come over here. So to put that in my wife's mind around that this is what I want to do, and then once the decision came around and I was appointed, then she was all in, and obviously my boys were all in as well. But it is difficult once you get to a certain age, around whether it's uni or work or seeing your kids or not seeing your kids would be very, very hard. So credit to Brad to come over here and do the job that he's doing while got his children over the other side of the world. So it's been difficult for him, but I'm sure now he'd be more settled. He's made his decision, and especially one of his boys comes over, will make it a lot easier.
In terms of Leeds Rhinos, a tight win at Headingley earlier in the season and then defeat at Craven Park, are they perhaps one of the few sides that have had the measure of you so far this season?
No, I wouldn't say measure. We've had one win against them, one loss against them. They probably look at the first game, they should have won that game. We come back at the end, we'll look at the second game, and we should have won that game because we let a lot of tries, missed opportunities where we could have gone in 14, 20-0 at half time. So certainly they don't have the measure over us, but there's a lot of teams in this competition who are even in terms of, on their day, anyone can beat anyone. So it's no different this week, and that's why we've got to prep the right way, and we've got to perform to make sure that we beat them, because if you don't perform against Leeds, you get beaten.
And of course, you're still aiming to win the League Leaders' Shield. You're still aiming to end the season strongly. How much do you also perhaps have to treat this game as a potential dress rehearsal for the playoffs?
Look, there's 5 rounds to go. It's a long way off the playoffs, so I'm not even thinking about the playoffs at the moment. We prep each week similar each week. We're consistent with what we do because we want consistent performances, and that's what we're chasing this weekend. We're chasing a performance similar to what we did last week, and that's based around defence. And I think majority of the year we've done that, and we just want to strive to be better and improve that area because, come back into the year, that's what wins the big games, and this is a big game this weekend. So, that's on the top of our mind, is about defending well again and making sure that we're a team that's hard to score against. and they've got to earn everything. If we do that, then we'll put ourselves in a position.
Just finally, Willie, Coldplay for you tonight or tomorrow night?
Tonight for me.
Tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're a connoisseur of Coldplay deep cuts, but which song are you perhaps hoping they play this evening?
Well, my wife's a massive fan. On the way over, she, on the flight, we're just obviously talking around the journey ahead and what was, what we're about to experience. And one of her sort of tick off on the bucket list was going to a Coldplay concert. And she said, we'll go anywhere in the world for that. So we thought we might have to go to Greece or somewhere else, another country. And little old Craven Park gets the nod for him. So it's going to be an awesome night, and it's a great thing for the city to have Coldplay. Obviously, everyone knows Coldplay, and massive. They've been huge for many years. So it'd be nice to take the wife there, and she'll enjoy herself. It'd be great for the city, as I said.
Have a great time tonight, Willie. Thanks for your time.
Cheers. Thanks, mate.
Hi, Willie. Hope you're well.
Hey, Josh. How you going, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. We've just had it through on Warea-Hargreaves, and it's obviously come with the ban. Can you just talk about how big of a blow that is, but on the other side, the competition for that place going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk too much. It's fresh. I just found out as well. So, look, I need to work out, if we fight it, if we don't fight it. But if Jared doesn't play, then certainly someone will step up, which they have all season.
Just on Leyland, I don't think he got on the field, did he, on Friday? But with Michael McClure, Matt, do you envisage him still playing a big part in the run-in?
Yeah, I said to Bill, it's unfortunate, where we're at the stage we're at the season. Like I said to him before the game, not sure the minutes. Basically you may not get any, or you may get some. Look, Bill's played a fair bit this year, which has been good for his development, and we've done that, on purpose to develop him. But look, in the back end of the year, we need to work out, what our strongest 17 is. Jez can play 80 minutes, so is he in that 17? Possibly. At times he will be, but we need to work out each week on what we think the best rotations are, because there's no point sort of sitting him on the interchange if he's not getting a run either. So we need to work out, as I said, what our strongest 17 is for the weekend ahead. It could be in this week, might not be in the week after. We're not sure. We need to work out what it all looks like. But it's, for me, he's played a part this year, which has been great for his development from where he come from. And he was out last year, hadn't played Super League. He's played a big part this year, and who knows how much he'll play in the back end. He could play a significant part, or he might not play a great deal. But he's part of this squad, and we'll keep developing him. Thanks
for that. I know preparations, as you say, every week is mostly in-house, but just looking at Leeds and their resurgence, a prime example of that is Lockie Miller. He's in great form this year. I mean, how impressed have you been by him so far this season? And we had a little look at him. Yeah, I've always rated Lockie from what I've seen at the Knights or Sharks initially, and then when he went to the Knights, he copped a little bit last year, from media and around his performances and stuff. But sometimes it can take a little bit of time to settle in. New country, new environment, new competition. But he's, whenever you're coaching against him, and he's a threat. He's got that sevens background. He likes space. He likes time. We need to make sure we take that away from him, because he's a danger. And again, you say most weeks that forwards play a big part, but Leeds really have that big pack. Is that something you're looking forward and looking for your pack to step up against a big Leeds Rhinos pack? Yeah, we know exactly how they're going to play. That's going to be physical, in terms of that side of the game. Yeah, they're unpredictable at times, the way that they play with the ball, because they've got a lot of individuals, as I said before, that like space and time. And if it's not on one side of the field, they'll try and explore and find it on the other. But we know what's coming through the middle. And that's I know the way Brad coaches and the style that he likes, and that's an aggressive style. But we like that as well. So it's important that we win that battle through that middle, because as I always say, if you do win the battle through the middle, that goes a long way to win the game. Cheers, thanks Willie. Best of luck this week. Thanks, Josh.
Hey Willie, how are you doing?
James, good mate. You?
Yeah, good, thank you. we're speaking generally because obviously you're not there yet. But which is the bigger achievement in your view, winning the Challenge Cup or winning the League Leaders Shield?
We're not there, James. We're not there yet. Look, mate. Honestly, Challenge Cup was an unbelievable experience and something that we needed to win because we put ourselves in a strong position 2 years ago. Put ourselves in a strong position with the GF last year, and then this year we're probably favourites. So that was something that we needed, to tick off. Now the next one's the League Leaders, and as I say, we're not guaranteed yet, so I don't look too far ahead. I know you want the headlines of that, but it's we've got a massive game this week it's a big game, huge game this week against Leeds, and I'm not going to talk that down. It is a big game, like last week was a big game, so that's the priority. The priority will be making sure that we go perform the way we did last week and back that up because it's really important that we do that.
In terms of the achievement itself, you would be the most consistent team over the season, the best team during the regular season. Would that give you a lot of satisfaction? Yeah,
I mean, if you get there, of course. I mean, it takes a lot to win a League Leaders Shield. But as I said, we've still got a lot of work to do to achieve that. So, not looking too far ahead, and what could happen. It's the narrow focus is Friday or Thursday night. So. Look, are we chasing it? Of course, I'll give you that. We want the League Leaders. We've been open about that. We've been open from the start of the season that we wanted to win silverware, so we don't shy away from that. But we also know that you can't, look too far ahead and forget what the most important thing is, and that's Leeds Rhinos this week.
And there's no let-up, is there, during this running? You've got 5 tough games to finish. Is this running good prep for the playoffs?
Yeah, we'll soon find out, but I certainly think it is because to win the competition, you've got to beat the best in the competition, and we've got, our last 6 games are against the best, in terms of where everyone sits on the ladder. So it's a great prep for us to go in to finals, and we get a good look at where we're at. We find out, before finals of where we're really at. So, we're in a strong position at the moment, but our next focus is Leeds, and if you go perform well there, then you start to keep that consistency, and if you don't, then you guys are coming at us and all that sort of stuff. So it's all around, as I say, it's all around narrow focus to what's the most important. And for us this week is it's a big game against Leeds, and we're going to make sure that we play well.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Willie. That's all from me.
Cheers, James. Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Hey, Willie, you all right?
Hey, Sam. Good, mate.
After, obviously, it was a big game last week, and obviously after the Challenge Cup final, you had that sort of big game, etc. And you came back in, and there was questions of how you're going to perform, and you really stepped up. On paper, obviously, that was an easier game. Do you feel confident that your team can answer those same questions this week against what looks like a tougher opponent?
Yeah, I do. I mean, if you look at the course of the year, we've stepped up after every big game because that's what the players pride themselves, and we pride ourselves as a group and staff and making sure that the players are best prepared. But then the players are the ones that go execute it and do it. So it's something that we do pride ourselves in. I mean, you have a look at the course of the year when we've had derby games. They're like semi-finals when you play derbies, and we've had to back it up the week after. We played Wigan, played Leeds twice. It's been a huge campaign, but that's what this comp's about. So, look, we're not looking at it. We have to back up because we just had a big week against Wigan. It's an expectation to be consistent. So, we pride ourselves on that, and we expect that from ourselves. So, if we don't have that consistent performance, then we need to look at why and how. But all we're thinking about is making sure that we do that.
And just a word on James Batchelor. I know you've mentioned England players and those who are or aren't in the squad. He is one of the ones that was named to Sean Wayne's 30-man squad earlier this year, and obviously played out of position on Friday. How big has he been this year in terms of, he's obviously the vice captain, he's kind of stepping up massively in terms of what you expected from him to what the results that you're getting from him? Has he surprised you, or were you fully expecting this?
No, he hasn't surprised me at all because I know, when I first come into the club, the first thing I looked at was who are the players that you want to build a team around who, in terms of work ethic, in terms of how hard they compete. The two at the top of the list, in that area at the time was Batch and Dean Hadley. Like, they were two that not many people, no one were speaking about. I think we got Batch from Wakefield. I think at times he was on the interchange, and Dino was in and out with injuries, and he wasn't a name that was spoken about to me a lot. But I watched them and I could see what they did off the ball, and those players soon become first picked in the team each week, and then those players soon become the foundations of our team. Along with Minnie at the obviously Minnie, and there was Sam Luckley, Jesse Sue, those guys who Jez and Mikey, those guys were part of our group 2-3 years ago. We don't have a great deal left, but they were the ones. But was the first those two guys initially. Elliot and I, it's well known that we had some sort of heart-to-hearts early, and I just sort of let him know where I thought he was at. But his game's gone to many, many higher levels after we had a conversation, because he has worked so hard to put himself in that position. He's our leader, he's our captain, and Batch is our vice captain, and I couldn't have two better leaders running our team. Both of them exceptional leaders, and then well respected within the group.
Just lastly, because you did mention Elliot there, these past couple of weeks he seems to have been more involved in the attack. Was that because of the fact that you were missing Tyrone, so you didn't have that consistent 1-6-7, or is it just, have you specifically asked of him in this sort of lead up to the playoffs, like, that you want him to be on the ball a bit more?
Yeah, good observation. I think with Mikey playing a different role, so Mikey played on the ball, which is a bit foreign to him. He hasn't done that role. He's usually that second receiver. Tyrone's on the ball. Mikey gets the ball when he wants it, and the space where now Mikey was that person to try and create a bit of space for his edge. But we wanted Elliot to help with that, and he certainly took that role on. I thought those two worked well together. Mikey's better suited when he can get some space and you free him up a little bit more. But I was really happy with how he stepped up. But certainly Minnie helped him and took that pressure off him. And when it was time to run, he ran. And when it was time to play, he played. But yeah, we wanted Elliot to touch the ball more, and Mikey as well. And those two being the main two that were organising everything. Where Tyrone's our main organiser, along with Minnie when those two play together. But yeah, Minnie certainly stepped up.
Yeah, we could see how they go on Friday or Thursday, sorry, now that you got Tyrone back. But yeah, that's all from me. Thanks very much and best of luck.
Cheers, Sam.